This episode of Bourbon on Ice, presented by Your Friend Frosty and your bartender, Mike Whiskey, is brought to you by the Cape Media Center of Cape Cod, Massachusetts. The views and opinions expressed during this podcast do not necessarily reflect those of the Cape Media Center. Listener discretion is advised. Oh, a record button. And what's this? I'm all alone. Oh. While the Frosty's away, the whiskey shall play. Roll the music.
Welcome, listeners, to Bourbon on Ice,
Where we talk about everything nerdy, like gentlemen.
Join us every week for our local Cape Cod take on, well, everything.
Laugh, cry, be confused, and laugh some more.
I'm your friend Frosty.
And I'm your bartender, Mike Whiskey.
Stay tuned. You think they'll like the episode?
Oh, they'll definitely love it. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to a I'm not quite sure what to call it yet. Let's go with interesting episode of Bourbon on Ice, where we talk all things nerdy like gentlemen. I'm your bartender, Mike Whiskey, and I am flying solo today. Our friend Frosty is... He's not here with us. He's left me alone, and I don't know what to do with myself. Anyway, that's why I said it would probably be an interesting episode, because I get to do this all by myself. And if you're telling me it's not morning where you are, it's evening or afternoon, even the nighttime, then you're wrong, because it's the morning of the time we're spending together. And that is so special to me, and I hope that it's special to you too. I'm not going to beat around the bush, nor bury the lead on this one. I'm doing a little bit of a variety hour, so I hope you enjoy. Sit back, relax, as we get into my first segment, Whiskey's Reading Room. Hello and welcome. Please find a seat in a comfy chair or chaise lounge. Trade in the hard liquor and beer for fine rosé or chardonnay, and enjoy the complimentary charcuterie board as we take a waltz into Whiskey's Reading Room. I'm your bartender, Mike Whiskey, and today I'll be reviewing and discussing Swords and Deviltry, the first book in the Lankhmar saga by Fritz Leiber. Now, what's interesting to note about this book and the series in general is that it's not a singular, cohesive story, like Lord of the Rings or Eragon, or a lot of the other books that you'll find in the genre story section at, say, Barnes & Noble or your local bookstore. It's more like a collection of short stories, and it's sort of, what's the opposite of the, it's not quite a linear storytelling, it's serialized, it's not, or episodic. Yeah, I can't remember which one it is, episodic or serialized, but it's those two, and it's the other one. Anyways, things don't really come together. It's a serialized story, that's it. Much in the same vein as like a Doctor Who or Sherlock Holmes. Two stories could be chronologically in order, but you don't have to read it in that order. Does that make sense to you guys? Actually, that's a good point. This series could very easily be considered the Sherlock Holmes of the low fantasy genre. The reason for this serialization is that, much like the Sherlock Holmes stories, the short stories written by Fritz Leiber in this book and others were originally published in science fiction magazines that would come out monthly. Actually, I think weekly or monthly, I'm not entirely sure which. But now that I've waffled on about the background of the series for a little bit, let's get into the meat of this book. My copy is small, it's only about 150 pages, and it contains 4 short stories, the first of which is an induction of about 2 paragraphs, and it serves to introduce us to our 2 main protagonists, Fafford and the Grey Mouser. The second story introduces us to Fafford, a great hulking barbarian of the snowy north, who dreams of civilization, yet feels duty-bound and magically shackled to his homeland. The story details his escape from the icy magic of the snow witches, which is his mother, and his escape to the city of Lankmar and civilization. The third tale presents us with the Grey Mouser, a short and shrewd, very charming rogue with a small talent for sorcery. His introductory story explains his daring rescue of a princess from her abusive father and how they escaped to Lankmar. And the final story relates to us how Fafford and the Grey Mouser meet and become instant and lifelong friends and comrades in arms. And it includes their first raid of the Thieves Guild, and without spoiling too much, the despair of the loss of their first loves. Overall, this set of short stories was a wonderful introduction into the world of Newhan and the characters of Fafford and the Grey Mouser. Fritz Leiber was a lifetime Grand Master of sci-fi and fantasy, and it shines through on every page. I will warn the prospective reader that Leiber very quickly runs through the geography of his world in a rapid-fire series of names and places, which can be a little bit disorientating. Secondly, some of you may want to have a dictionary at the ready. Vocabulary isn't incredibly difficult, but there may be one or two uncommon words that might send you scurrying into the pages of your dictionary. You might not know it. It certainly sent me to the dictionary one or two times. Not that that's a bad thing. If you are a fan of low fantasy and anti-hero protagonists, this may be a good series to pick up. I highly recommend it. And it's really cool to see where a lot of the original ideas for things like the Thieves Guild came from. Thieves Guild, in fact, it was Fritz Leiber himself who coined the term swords and sorcery. So I had a blast reading this book, and I hope that this little foray into Whiskey's reading room might inspire you to pick up a new book. You'll have to leave me a comment on your favorite books, or something that you've read recently. Thank you for joining me in Whiskey's Reading Room. This has been Whiskey's Reading Room. Tune in next time, where Whiskey reads and reviews The Last Unicorn by Peter Beagle. Welcome back to just me rambling for a hot second. It is me doing all the recording and the whatchamacallit, the plotting out and writing of this episode, but Frosty still does the edits in the editing room with the software, so it's going to be really interesting to see just exactly what he does to mess with us in post-production. So, I'm waiting for you there, Frosty. Don't disappoint me. And I'll be listening to this episode for sure. But, with that being schmed, as he would say, we're going to move into our next topic, which I call When We Last Left Our Heroes. So, periodically, I have been regaling you with tales of my Dungeons & Dragons group and their adventures. And it's been a hot minute since last I spoke of them and their misadventures. So, I wanted to take this opportunity that I have alone with you guys to let you know the shenanigans that my merry band of misfits has been up to. Let's see. So they have been more or less trapped on an island called Sorrowdusk, and to catch you quickly up to speed, they have been tasked by a magnanimous, in quotes, wizard whose name they have yet to receive, and it frustrates them to no end. And they've been tasked with helping a tribe of ogres to eliminate another tribe of ogres that usurped their leader, their chieftain. Now, this has been a fun experience for them, with the exception of one NPC whom they have come to loathe, named Edicaf, which may have been mentioned previously, is facade spelled backwards. And he infuriates them and stymies them to no end. He vexes them. That's the word I was looking for. He vexes them. That's such a delicious word. I am an evil dungeon master. He is a changeling, and I hope that none of my players are listening right now. You're not going to get any spoilers, but you may get some insights, maybe, if my tongue is not too loose. So, lately, they cleared up the usurper. They killed the usurper, who was Prague the usurper. And what they have done is they've gone to the other half of the island, where the proper ogre chieftain, who wasn't hiding, he no longer needs to be, because he is his clan has been restored to their proper power, and the trolls have been driven out. This was all they had a lot of fun with the trolls, because they didn't know at the time that trolls regenerate unless you attack them with fire or acid. So they had a fun time lopping off troll limbs only for them to just keep getting up. In fact, one of the highlights of the campaign so far was when they pushed a troll off a cliff and let it fall, taking damage and dying, regenerating. They let the troll climb all the way back up to them, and then they pushed the troll off the cliff. They did this about 3 times, laughing hysterically, because it was pretty funny. They were properly bullying that troll. And of course the troll's stupid, so it doesn't understand that it's fighting a losing battle here. But regardless, they got the troll situation under control, and now they've gone to the second half of the island, where they have been freeing ogre slaves with the proper ogre chief, whose name is Grust. Or maybe I have the names reversed. Yes, I do have the names reversed. Frag is the good ogre, Grust is the bad ogre. But anyways, they've been, with Grust's help and guidance, he's the quest giver, they found out that all of these happenings were the result of the machinations of a cult of the Dark Six. Specifically, the cult of the Fury, a dark god of passion and extreme emotion, specifically rage, lust, etc. And the machinations of this cult, which they have yet to fully uncover, has led them to discover that they were digging up an old temple outpost. And so they freed the ogres who were being used as slaves and sacrifices, fought a few undead, after fighting the undead and the boss undead, they were exhausted. They suffered a level of exhaustion from a haste spell that the party wizard had cast on them. So now they were tired, and tired IRL as well. So they were tired in game and tired in real life. And I said something that was supposed to be taken as a joke, but they took it literally. What can I say? They were searching the temple outpost, just looking for treasure and other things to fight because they're happy gremlins like that. When they find a trap, a lightning trap, there's lightning zapping across the room. And on the opposite side are 2 treasure chests. And they look at those treasure chests and they think one of these has to be a mimic. So they open one treasure chest, and they find treasure and gold inside. They're all happy about it. And then they look at the other chest, and they ask me, what does this treasure chest look like? And I answer, it looks hungry. Because they had been asking if it was a mimic. And I said, it looks hungry. That was the wrong answer, because the party monk, an elephant woman by the name of Lon, she kicked the treasure chest into the trap, where the wooden box there exploded, and the contents containing of a scroll, some articles of clothing, were hit by said lightning and went up in smoke. They burned. This magical scrolls, they go up in smoke, some clothing burns in the lightning, and all that's left is this chain shirt. It's magical. And a few gold coins scattered around. And they're all blaming me like it's my fault. And I'm like, you're the ones who did not listen to me when I was saying it was a joke that the treasure chest looks hungry. That's about where we leave off with their adventures, because they got back to base camp. Not base camp, but a secondary camp. Slept for 3 days. And then went back to their real base camp, which is a boat just off of the shore of this island, where they have been hosted, let's say, by a merry band of not pirates today on the SS Violence, with violence scratched out and the word kisses replaced on the hull. Yes, they are not pirates today. They're being paid well by the mysterious employer. And so that is where we leave our heroes, with Lon, Flecka, and Squelch. Lon, the elephantine monk, Squelch, the bugbear barbarian, and Flecka, the gnoll eldritch knight, on the ship, re-outfitting, re-equipping, preparing themselves for the next battle ahead, which I think I shall give you guys some intel into. They are going to be beginning their first assault on the main temple of this cult of the Six. This cult of the Fury.
The Cape Media Center, located in Dennisport, Cape Cod, Massachusetts, is a non-profit community media center and the public access TV station for the towns of Barnstable, Yarmouth, Dennis, Harwich, and Chatham. Our mission is to build community through media, enhance democratic communication, and facilitate free expression by providing these towns with a state-of-the-art media resource center. Members can become trained in our video and audio equipment and produce their own media content. Membership includes training classes, access to our field equipment, studios, and facility, as well as airtime. Podcasters and music producers can share their content on our website. For more information, visit capemedia.org.
This episode of Bourbon on Ice is brought to you by Market Street Bookshop in Mashpee Commons, located at 31 Market Street, Mashpee, Massachusetts. Embrace diversity and find support for local authors and artists at the Market Street Bookshop, where your favorite new read is just a browse away. For more information, give them a call at 508-539-6985.
Now, you see, one of the hardest parts I found when doing the writing for this segment, or not this segment, this episode, was coming up with ideas to talk with you guys about, and give you guys some I'll peel back the curtain a little bit. Frosty is the big ideas guy. He's the one who comes up with a lot of our episode ideas. And every so often I'll come up with an idea myself, but it's usually like a flash of inspiration, or perspiration sometimes, as it were. Frosty is the real big idea guy. And most of the podcast it's like his baby, and I'm very proud of him, and I love seeing the joy that is on his face whenever we do this podcast and he's just in his element. Because this is genuinely a bit tricky, and I enjoy being a co-host, but it's Frosty's baby. And sometimes I feel like I'm just along for a ride, and it's one hell of a ride, and I love every second of it. So Frosty needs to come back because I miss him. Another thing I wanted to chat with you guys about is like a quick update. The Philippine stuff we've noticed gets some good reviews, and I wanted to give you guys an update on the journey that is attempting to get my fiance over to the US, because there has been some good news. She recently had an appointment to apply for her passport, and she was approved. Hooray. I'm so excited. And so, sometime by the end of the month, next week, or perhaps the week after, she'll be getting her passport, and then I will be able to start the paperwork on the US side of things to start getting her fiancé visa. There's going to be one more trip to the Philippines, and that will be the trip that I bring her back. And then we'll have her on this podcast, and you guys will get to meet the little cinnamon bun. And I do mean little. But I hope that brief update on the Philippines is enough to satisfy you guys for a while, because it's not going to happen again for a little while. And I do apologize, because you guys really did seem to enjoy all the weird and wonderful things that happened over there. And on that note, I think that brings me to my third topic of the evening, which is a Whiskey Asks segment. That's right. And I'm doing this during the episode because I think I need to explain myself a little bit. So, who amongst us has ever gone to, out of state or next town over or to another country and found a restaurant with just a bizarre name? Funny, but bizarre. Or even, not even the name, but like the logo. So Elder Nerd and I have a couple examples for you. Elder Nerd with his example of a Chinese food restaurant in Puerto Rico, and its name was, and I quote, Chinese Takey Outie. Oh my goodness, that's so bad. I wish Frosty was here to play off with that. But that's the kind of example I'm looking for. Just hysterical, out there names, logos on these restaurants that you have seen. Now, I'll provide my examples. This one was in the Philippines. Boss Manok, which has a logo, Manok being like a rotisserie chicken, and the logo for this Boss Manok was an absolutely jacked, swole, ripped, muscle-bound chicken smoking a cigar. And I thought it was the funniest thing in the world. Another example from the Philippines was Charlie's Burger. And Charlie's Burger had ripped off the Burger King logo wholesale and replaced Burger King with Charles Burger. And you know what? We'll expand the Whiskey Asks segment to include not just restaurants, but other stores that you've seen, like Curl Up and Die Hair Salon. That was in the Blues Brothers movie, so I hope some of these actually do exist. And I'm waiting to hear back from you guys what does exist. Because this should be a delightfully hysterical Whiskey Asks. So, again, the question is, what funny or bizarre business name, because we've expanded from restaurants to all businesses, what funny or bizarre business name have you encountered in your travels? You can post your answers to our Facebook page at Bourbon on Ice, tweet us at Bourbon on Ice with Whiskey and Frosty on Twitter, email us at whiskeyfrosty@yahoo.com, or find us, or leave a comment on our YouTube section. Leave a comment in the comments section on our YouTube page, Bourbon on Ice, and I think there's a few others that Frosty would hit me for not remembering. You can find us at all those locations and leave me your answers. I look forward to hearing them. So I think you've heard Frosty say or ask me quite a few times over the show, "Whiskey, have you seen?" And then he stops because I haven't seen it. I don't watch much. So I thought I might shed some light on the things that I have seen and share with you all my DVD collection, or at least a small part of it, because Whiskey doesn't have Netflix. Because as some of you may have guessed, Whiskey does not have Netflix. Whiskey does not have Hulu. Whiskey does not have Paramount Plus, Disney Plus, HBO Max, although I think it's going by Max now. Whiskey has none of it. Whiskey has his DVD collection. And then Elder Nerd has his DVD collection. And I've seen much from both. But I think I'm only going to share with you my DVD Blu-ray collection. And we'll just go in order of no particular order. So, actually, there is an order. It's from left to right on my shelf over here. I have watched most of these, and there are only a few that I need to watch at some point soon. And I won't let you know. I won't let you know. So, the list goes like this. Flash Gordon. Ran. Akira Kurosawa. Film. Alita Battle Angel. Heavy Metal. Jojo Rabbit. That was hysterical. Patrick Swayze's Roadhouse. Willow. Epic. Blue Skies Epic. The Lives of Others. In the Heart of the Sea. Whiplash. Battle Royale. The Little Prince. The Last of the Mohicans. Skyfall 007. Unforgiven. Ghostbusters, the original. The Last Samurai, the one with Tom Cruise. Krull, maybe a name some of you have not heard in quite a long time. The Adventures of Robin Hood with Errol Flynn and Olivia de Havilland. Studio Ghibli's Princess Mononoke. Castaway, The Bridge on the River Kwai. Groundhog Day. Good Will Hunting. The Princess Bride. Labyrinth. Taken. The Lord of the Rings. Goblin Slayer, which is an anime and a series. I have Das Boot. The Revenant. Disney's The Lion King. The complete series of Avatar: The Last Airbender. Now we're getting into more TV shows. The Rising of the Shield Hero Season 1. Season 1 of My Hero Academia. The original trilogy of Star Wars. Howl's Moving Castle. Braveheart, Gladiator, and Saving Private Ryan. The Father, 300, The Dark Crystal, Studio Ghibli's The Cat Returns, The Iron Giant, The Hobbit, the original animated classic, that's what it says on the cover, the Rankin Bass one, Christmas Eve, which is my favorite Christmas movie, Spirited Away, Gone with the Wind, Thor Ragnarok, Lawrence of Arabia, Seven Samurai, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, The Ten Commandments, Spartacus, Tales from Earthsea, and Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark. There's a lot of classics on this list. And I don't watch a lot of things. Here's the secret. I vet a lot of things. I need to hear good word of mouth about it. It needs to be a classic and good story. I don't watch a lot of things because I don't like to watch garbage. So it needs to be vetted, it needs to be good, and it needs to be an enduring work of fiction or non-fiction. That's sort of my criteria, and you can... Here's my hot take for the episode. You can be mad at me for it. You can stay mad when I say that a lot of the films made in the last, let's call it 10 years, have not been up to snuff. Honestly, I'm just looking for some heart in the things that I watch, and I'm not seeing that. So that's my hot take. Take it or leave it. And join me next time for What Has Whiskey Seen? Oh, I hope you enjoy that one, Frosty.
How could you?
I had to.
I can't believe you.
You gave me no choice.
It's unthinkable.
And yet, I thought it.
I can't believe it.
Believe it.
You think you know a guy.
Or maybe you never knew me at all.
How could you?
How can you not?
Why? Just tell me, Whiskey, why?
That depends. What exactly are we talking about?
I thought you knew.
Oh, not a clue.
Oh. Well, this is awkward.
We are nearing the end of our time together. The evening of our time together. As I said good morning in the intro, I shall say good evening to you in the outro. And so we have come full circle. I have a few last things to share with you all. Before I go, however, we've been reflecting towards the past over this episode, things that have happened. So I think I want to end this episode looking forward. And on that note, it's gonna get real boring, and we're gonna be waiting for a while from here on out. It's gonna be a while before I make a new trip to the Philippines. But this next one should be a golden one, because I get to bring the girl back with me. And even though it may be a while, I couldn't be more excited about it. On a similar point of looking towards the future, I wanted to share with you guys a few insights into what Frosty and I will be doing in the near future, in Sukkot. Firstly, we have a plan for a two-parter episode that should tickle pink you nerds out there, especially the Zelda nerds. And there may or may not be a special guest appearance from Elder Nerd. Bum-ba-bum. Oh, Frosty, I hope you put that little jingle in. His jingle in. The second is, I want to relay you guys a little bit of information about the hiatus that I think may have been mentioned previously in passing. I think it's important to keep you guys aware of what's going on. We will be taking maybe about a month off for the end of the summer, and we shall be visiting lots of bars, maybe a few historical places, and some other intriguing, fascinating, and bizarre local localities near us, all of which we'll be making into episodes for you to hopefully enjoy when we get back. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this interesting episode of Bourbon on Ice with your bartender, Mike Whiskey, and no one else. No one! No, I can't pretend to be Frosty. It just doesn't work. And I don't even have him here to make pithy remarks in this little outro. I can't sign off with that laugh. That seems to end almost every episode. Don't think I haven't noticed. This has been Bourbon on Ice. I am your bartender, Mike Whiskey. I hope you enjoyed and had a good time with me. And Frosty will be back next session. Session? What is this, a D&D campaign? No, this is a podcast. Have a good night, everyone. And thank you for joining me on this unique and challenging adventure.
This podcast was recorded at and produced by Cape Media Center on Cape Cod, Massachusetts by podcasting duo Mike Whiskey and Your Friend Frosty. All music and sound credits go to soundstripe.com. Special thanks to Jamie Horton, Emily Tulloch, Gabrielle Rawson. For more information on Bourbon on Ice, visit our social media page at twitter.com/whiskeyfrosty. For more information on Cape Media Center, visit capemedia.org. For more listening options and a variety of podcasting entertainment, visit our hosts at buzzsprout.com and capemediacenter.org.